Is it really going to be a tough season for Aaron Rodgers? What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today I'm taking a deep dive into the 2023 New York Football Jets. Let's get right into this. If you guys are new, feel free to stick around. We're going to be going through the depth chart as well as going into a records prediction. So bear with me because we're going to start out by looking at the skill position, going to the offensive line. Then we're going to go to the defensive line, then skill position. And then, of course, that records prediction game by game. Starting out with the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Karen Rodgers for the people who are fans of the NFC North or just not a fan of Aaron Rodgers himself. He came here and obviously is a big upgrade over what y'all had. There's been some little spurts of excitement here. Mike White, I think Josh Johnson had like a 400-yard game like a little bit over a year and a half ago. So there definitely has been some excitement here and there, but it was just like us Steelers fans when Duck Hodges started going off. We all knew that it was probably not the long-term option, and there's a reason for that. But Aaron Rodgers is that guy. He was pretty much traded for a couple second-round picks, and he obviously has that type of value to him. He might have taken a step back, but I mean, he's just not too far away from being an MVP level performer at the quarterback position with not very elite weapons on the outside. Now, we'll get to those in a second, but I think Aaron Rodgers is getting a little bit of a bad rap because people just don't want to give him credit. We'll see, but I really do like Aaron Rodgers. I do. I think this is a really good system for him. I think that they have a solid enough offensive line. I think that there's good enough weapons. We'll talk about that more in depth right now. Running back Breece Hall, I'll just bring this up. There's not many running backs that come back after a season-ending injury and end up hitting the ground running. And, he is a really talented back. He was my RB1, and he definitely looks like he's probably in that tier. Very, very good running back out of Iowa State. I love him to death. Again, you just can't fully project the running back who just came off an injury to be 100%. So again, I think he'll get to that speed, but it just probably won't be early on. And you'll see that very much in this video, especially in the records prediction, that the team's going to need some time to get together and mold together. And that's kind of true of all teams that are changing quarterback, changing systems, or, coming back from injuries. So I think that it's understandable at the very minimum why it would take a little bit of time to get those wheels greased and get them going. Wide receiver wise, Garrett Wilson was my number one wide receiver in last year's class, technically a little over a year ago. He's awesome. He's proven to be one of those elite wide receivers. I thought he was super special. He's ended up being super special. So great to see Aaron Rodgers have his Devontae Adams back with Garrett Wilson. Other wide receiver, Allen Lazard, got brought in. He had his whole checklist of things that he wanted first. He got even like Randall Cobb on the team, if I'm not mistaken. So, Allen Lazard, I'm not over the moon about him. I don't think that he's spectacular, but he's not a tomato can. He's not crap. He's not cheeks, whatever you want to call him. He's a good player, but, at least he's a number 2, and you have Garrett Wilson to be the number 1. I'm perfectly fine with Allen Lazard being there. Then you got Mecole Hardman, who is an offseason acquisition. To me, he's nothing special. Obviously, he's not worth that second-round pick that, Kansas City decided to put a flyer on him for, I think ahead of even guys like DK Metcalf. He was somebody where he was supposed to be kind of like the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So he's supposed to be Jalen Waddle to Tyreek Hill. Didn't end up working out. Still think that could be an area of improvement for them. Other receivers in that backfield or in that core there is Corey Davis and Denzel Mims. Denzel has been brought up in trade rumors. We'll see if he's still there when all is said and done, but still a second rounder with a ton of potential. 4.38 speed at that size is, at the very minimum, no joke. You still have a really good athlete with really good size. Could be good for a trade. I'm quite surprised that a team like the Detroit Lions, who I'm getting absolutely eviscerated for because I just don't believe that they move the needle enough compared to other teams. That's a guy that I would be pretty happy with them adding, and it very well might tip the scale. And he's not even that good of a receiver at all. But for a team like that could use that infusion of at least something, it could be a difference maker in a game or two for them, and that's huge, especially when you're trying to make a push for the playoffs. Regardless, I forgot to mention Michael Carter as well, one of my favorite running backs from, I believe, just 2.5 years ago. So good player, love him to death. Tyler Conklin, tight end. Not that big of a fan, personally. I do think it is probably one of the weaknesses on the team. I'm not against Tyler Conklin at all. And, he was serviceable, if I'm not mistaken, there for Minnesota. And now you have Zach Kuntz. That's the reason I didn't put it as a weakness. I think Zach Kuntz is going to become the starter. So just be aware about that. He's 6'7", extreme athlete. He's rated the highest RAS, relative athletic score, of any tight end all time coming out the draft. Does that mean anything? No. It really just means he's athletic. But when you watch him play, he kind of reminded me a little bit of a bigger, more athletic Trey McBride. And I didn't put him up that high because I don't think he's as skilled as Trey McBride was. But I still think that he does have that essence to him, and he's bigger and he's more athletic. So good for him. Offensive line. The left tackle is okay. I'm not over the moon about Brown, but it's serviceable for sure. Then you got Laken Tomlinson there. You got Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton. I think that honestly, not too shabby of a roster. I don't think that you're set at tackle yet, and that's why why the Steelers ended up moving up over you guys for Broderick Jones. I hate to rub salt in that wound, but it is what it is. You still have Max Mitchell there as a backup at left tackle, though. I do like that a lot, even though I'm pretty sure he played right tackle there for the Raging Cajuns. So, interesting to see that, but still a dude with a ton of potential, third-round pick from a little bit over a year ago. Overall, that offense is super-duper solid. You could say the tight end, left tackle, slot wide receiver, it could be big areas of improvement. Mekhi Becton, if not healthy, could also be one of those dudes, but we'll see when all is said and done, man. This team has a lot of potential. If it stays healthy, they could make a legitimate push. Now, looking at the defensive line-wise, my God. Y'all have some good dudes here. You do. You got Quinnen Williams, who I've actually been able to see in person myself. I trained at the same facility as him before the draft. Yes, I have a video of him, not with him because, he's getting his freaking smoothie at that point. But we both trained at Mamba Sports Academy, had the same nutritionist, so got to hear a lot about him, fell in love with him as a person from what I heard. One of those dudes who gets there 10 minutes early, sits there, always has a positive attitude. There's a reason why he's arguably one of the better defensive tackles in all of the NFL. Well deserving of a big contract. Jefferson, he's solid, definitely not tomato can at all. D-end wise, you got John Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson, but then you also have 2 first-round picks in Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald sitting there. Quite surprising with Will McDonald, if I'm going to be honest there. It was a little bit of a big surprise because you have all these edge rushers. And, Will McDonald's a really good compliment to someone like Jermaine Johnson. So you guys have short-term, really good proven guys in Franklin Myers and Lawson. And then you also have Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald taking a step up here and there. You guys are great on the D-line. I'm not going to complain at all. Linebacker-wise, you got C.J. Mosley, who, again, really good veteran there. I really wish you guys had more prowess in that linebacking core. Quinnen Williams is not special to me. Jamie Sherwood, he's not awful, but I don't get excited about him. He doesn't get my gears going. Adrian Amos is a shell of himself, unfortunately, but, hopefully he takes a step up. As a guy who used to love the Chicago Bears, it's, one of those guys who has a closer feeling to my heart. You have Jordan Whitehead there as well. Good player. But then we get to the corners. Sauce Gardner was my number 1 player in last year's class, or a little bit over a year ago, if you want to call this past draft last year's class. Obviously, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, he's proven to be one of the best corners in the NFL. He is grabby, yes, but in the NFL nowadays, you kind of just have to be grabby. You're going to get flagged anyways. I'm not going to give him too much of a tough time for that one. Then you got Michael Carter in the slot. He's a very good nickel back. I know that the 49ers were really pissed when the Jets got him. And then you got DJ Reed, who's an amazing compliment. For a while there, Sauce and DJ were among the top guys in the NFL grade-wise for the corner position. Other guys of note, you got Bryce Hall in that secondary as well. I forgot to mention Michael Clemens. Jeez Louise, man. I love Michael Clemens. He was that last pick because you guys traded pretty much all your picks away. I think he was a 4th-round selection for you guys out of Texas A&M. He was 24 years old, but I thought he was spectacular. You have that as well in that rotation, but then you also have Chaz Surratt, who, he's he probably should be a nickel if I'm going to be honest, but I'm not going to get on him too much. Getting some linebacker depth, never a bad thing. But overall, your defense is really solid. You have some definite weak points on there, but, B+ is a very admirable grade. Very admirable grade. Good team overall. And that's why you guys end up making the playoffs and actually kicking some good ass here. I told you guys it's going to take a little bit of time to get some cohesion. You got Bryce coming off an injury. Brees coming off an injury. And you got Aaron Rodgers getting used to a whole new system here. Well, okay, not whole new system, but a whole new team. Bunch of dudes who he has not played with, like Garrett Wilson. Do I think it's going to be a long maturation process? No. But then you play some badass teams in the beginning. You got Buffalo, which, they already have that cohesion. They're already in full gear there. You got Dallas, who, You're going to Dallas. They're one of those teams that operates really well early on. New England, I think that y'all could beat them. I don't think they're that good of a team. They're a solid team, but I don't think they're that special just yet. They have a couple more pieces they got to put in here and there. You can't play Moneyball 100% of the time, especially in a star-driven league now. And they've been getting away with Moneyball for a while. It's starting to catch up. Then you got Kansas City and Denver, and you play in Mile High. I'm going to give Denver the nod there. They also have a back coming off a season-ending injury, so could be even on that front. But that's definitely a game you could win. It's just tough in Denver. Denver is just a really tough city to win in. It's a different environment entirely. But then you guys go on a win streak. I have you guys beating Philadelphia. God forbid. I don't even remember giving you guys that W, if I'm going to be completely frank. But power to you. You guys beat Philly. Then you go into a bye week and then beat up on New York and LA. I don't think New York's that good of a team. I think they heavily overachieved. Los Angeles, the Chargers are a very good team, but you're playing them at home. Gonna give you guys the nod there. Vegas as well. Vegas is a team that I don't trust their health. I don't trust their depth. I don't really trust them at all. And I think they're on the verge of pretty much collapse. So, I know I'm getting kind of torn apart for that video as well. But, for a team to do well, another team has to do poorly. And I decided to let the Raiders, the Lions, etc. be the teams that do poorly. And I'm willing to take it on the chin because there's certain teams I believe in far more than them. But I'm having you split with Buffalo. I don't think that's much of an issue. You play Miami at home, but I have you splitting because just like Denver, Miami's a very tough place to play. Even Tom Brady had big issues against kind of mediocre Miami Dolphins teams because of the fact that Miami is just a pain in the ass to play in. Atlanta and Houston, both of those teams are very solid. They're on the up, but I don't think that they're going to be able to match this team, especially in stride. Then you end off with Washington, Cleveland, and New England. Cleveland's one of those teams I could see having a slip up and having an L right there. But I do think you end off the offseason with some good momentum there. Ending off 11-6, making the playoffs. You guys are competing with the Bills for the division there for sure. Good team overall. It's just when you have so many new parts moving in and you have a very tough start to your year, it could put you in a very bad situation. But I trust Aaron Rodgers to get hot. I trust him to be able to bring your team to success. And, maybe I put the draft pick at 21st, but it could end up being much later. I did not predict the playoffs. So that's why I have that asterisk there. It's just a projected pick. So let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side.